Yep, what's up everyone? Welcome to Eagle Quiet for duels and for actually also team games, because you can use the exact lore hashtag build order on team games. Anyway, so we are gonna go over the build order first, and then we're gonna go over the lore, and then after we have done that, we are gonna look at 4 games. We're gonna look at that game 2 and game 3 at the same time, and then game 4 and game 5. So yeah, let's get into it. So at the start, when you start the game, you always want to start out with your scout camp, and after that you can try to get the second scout camp down if the tile is free that you are gonna have. You could also go for a third one, but third one actually slows you down, so I would say skip the third and just get it later, or if you have shipwreck, then get it once you scout shipwreck. But after you have your 1 or 2 scouts camped down, you just want to go for house and woodcutter to get your population more than 6 and to have a little bit of wood income. And after that, it depends. If you need to clear, you're gonna get your camps, and if you don't need to clear, then it depends if you have enough gold from the first cache that's spawning to just go yellow, or maybe you should just build dock. It might actually be better just to build some gold income. After that, you want to start mining iron right away, and build forge to start building the eagle relic, because the eagle relic currently is quite busted. And with that, that should be all about your first year. Like, there isn't much else you can really do. So that's gonna be not 12 minutes, because it's not full year. You start with 3 less months, I think, or is it 2? So it's gonna be like 10 minutes for the first year. The second year, you want to get some more economy going, so gold, food, whatever you can have, and also a brewery, because the clan will have problems with having happiness, so brewery is a good choice. Even though we usually say don't get brewery, but in this case you don't have a choice, you have to get the brewery. And in the middle of like 801, or near the start of 801, your relic should be going down. You should be able to go clear it with your chief only, if there is only 3 ghosts and you have bodyguard. So chief and bodyguard can clear the relic, and you get a lot of loot from it, and just snowball from there. Wait for the second one to spawn and then loot it, make army and go in. And yeah, that's like about it. The relic takes time to spawn for 6 months. Then you have to clear it, scout it for 1 month, and then will spawn again in 6 months. But once you place the relic down, it will just spawn right away. Alright, so let's get into the lore. So for the duels, I will recommend you to get the shipbuilding. So it's either foraging shipbuilding into weaponsmith fur coats, or weaponsmith fur coats into shipbuilding and then carpentry, depending on what kind of start you have. If you have to clear a lot of neutrals, then you probably want to take weaponsmith up, and if you have to clear them also in winter, then fur coats. If not, then you can already go to the bottom 3. And then yeah, you get your 6th lore, you get your happiness blessing because you have happiness problems, and you get some more lore, and well, that's it. For team games, I would just recommend you to get coinoids, because you do get lore from scouting, and also the relic will give you lore, so you should be getting lore with decent rate. And you're gonna have a lot of ore that you can just trade away, so will be nice. In team games you might not want to upgrade too much, just upgrade your main and scout camp. So you don't really need to pick up carpentry, but you can just go into coinets, weaponsmith and monster slayer for XP to get the rally or +1 armor on your warband faster, because you're gonna have a huge warband with the relic, so every bonus helps. Alright, so yeah, let's get into game 2 and game 3. Both of these games I didn't have free iron. Game 4 and 5 had free iron, so we're gonna look them separately, but yeah. So game 2 and 3, so let's get on with it. I am gonna go forward here. So yeah, first thing first, get your scouts and just look what tiles you have around you. So with the eagle, the more scouts camp you put down, the faster you're gonna get caches that give you more resources, and you can manipulate those caches to a degree. The less you scout, the better your chances of manipulating the caches are. So yeah, we had like 3 tiles, so we take them and we just put our second scout down, get a house, get a woodcutter, and yeah, also have a ruin, so we don't really need to colonize the area. With the eagle clan you can scout the treasure without it being colonized, you just need the tile to be clear. So I don't really need to scout more than these tiles already scouted, but since I wanna do some manipulation with the way the scout camps spawn the caches, I will scout forward. So the way the caches spawn is that once the building reaches 100 on the scout camp, then a cache will spawn. If you don't pick up the first cache, then a second will be spawn. If you don't pick up the second, then third, up to 5. If you have 5 caches, then none can spawn anymore and it will just stop. And the way the caches spawn is that the first cache will spawn in creeds 1 to 2, and it will spawn where you have scouted, except for the very first one. The very first one will be, yeah, it will be creeds 1 to 2, but if it's creed 1, it can always spawn in creed 1. So if you have like this tile there that's not scouted, you will see in a second that the cache will spawn there and then it will get scouted. So the first one will always spawn like either in the first creed or in the second creed. So if you don't pick it up, then the second cache will spawn on creed 3, third cache will spawn on creed 4, and fourth cache will spawn on creed 5, and fifth cache will spawn on creed 6. So the creeds are just like if you walk from one tile to another and then another tile, so how many tiles you go away from your town center. That's how you can know where the cache is gonna spawn. For early, after you have all the areas scouted, then it doesn't matter. Then it will start spawning randomly and you can't control it. So we'll see here in a second. We get our third creed tile scouted there. We know that there are wolves there, so I want to probably clear it and start using the cache as I can. And also the treasure or the cache spawned here, so it scouted this tile for me, so I don't need to use the scout to get this scouted. I'm gonna have this guy go and scout the treasure, and these guys are going to go and kill the neutrals and also try to clear the third creed so I can take the cache from there And that's gonna be it. We don't need to scout anymore for the early game. We just want to focus on getting our iron mind and just putting our relic down. So sustaining these two guys is not good, but I don't really have another choice if I want to get the third greed cleared to use it. In team games you can't really do the cash manipulation too much because your teammates will scout, and yeah, they just want to know what information they have around the map, so there's not much that can be done about that. So I go back to the tile where the neutrals attacked and we just heal up. So I am waiting for the second cache to spawn, and then it will spawn on the third grid that we have scouted. We have only one grid scouted, that's on 3 tiles away. If you don't have any of the third grid scouted, then it's just gonna be spawning on a random tile that's 3 grids away from your main. So if you want to manipulate it, so you should scout it. And if you pick up the first treasure, the first cache, then that will respawn until you leave it, and then it will go further. Unless you scout the map, then it will start spawning randomly. So in the second game here, I was trying to scout this tile, but I messed up, so I don't have a third grid scouted. And it's just gonna spawn randomly the cache. So yeah, it's like spawned there and I scouted that tile. Actually, that tile is insane. You can use it in duels definitely. It's the bumble tile. There are no neutrals there, so you can try to make the cache spawn there all the time and just get the loot from there. So I'm making warband to also clear up to the third grid so I can use it. Since I did scout the other tile that's 3 grids away, once I pick up the second cache, then it will have 2 places to spawn from. Right. So yeah, we have the forge down, we have the second cache spawned, we have guys here, and it seems I want just second cache. So the second cache will give you more resources than the first one. The first one will give you 75 of either food or wood, and then 50 gold or 50 lore. It will also always be iron first. After that, it's gonna be random what it gives. But this here is going to give us 112 food or wood and 75 gold or lore. So if you can make the second cache spawn over and over again, you're gonna have a little bit of benefit over the guy who's just always scouting the first cache to get 75 and 50, while you get 112 and 75. So if he has collected 3 caches, then you have like already collected 4 to say the least, because 1 cache is like 3 normals, right? No, 2 caches is 3 normals. So yeah, he needs to scout 3 caches while you need to only scout 2. So while he has scouted 3, you only have scouted 2. So yeah, next thing, just start the relic, as already told. The way that you get loot from the neutrals, because this clan can get loot from neutrals, is that they will drop pouches if your units are in the tile and deal the damage to them and get the last hit. If you have any other clan except for Eagle attacking and last hitting, then the pouches will not spawn. But if you get the last hit on the last guy, then the boss will spawn and all is good. But yeah, if you have 2 eagles, then both will get the loot. But same clan 2 times is usually not good. And especially if you're playing eagle, one can get the relic and the other one can't. And without the relic, the clan feels lackluster to say the least. So just doing the usual guiding with extra hitting, and then either whatever other units just running around and not getting hit. Alright, so we are mining the relic. We are not scouting anything more, we're just gonna try to icon him up. And we don't want to sustain any warband at all if possible. So once we have these guys here done their shenanigans, we're just gonna convert them into merchants. Like, it's always better to have merchant than sustaining warband, because just getting warband is so easy in Northgard. You just like click on the building, if you have gold, they become warband. You don't have to wait 15 seconds for the unit to convert into a warrior and then go. You can just like click and go. So you just store up a lot of code and you go in. Okay, so let's talk about a relic. And especially the relic spawning location. So the relic will always spawn adjacent to the middle, unless that tile is taken by a player, then it will spawn on middle. And if you have like one addition tile taken from the middle, then I think it's gonna be like 50-50, depending how the game feels to read the tiles, how they are placement, that it will either spawn in the middle or to the addition tile. But yeah, if they are none of the tiles are colonized next to the middle, then it will always spawn in one place. And if it already spawned in that place, you know that it's gonna keep spawning on that place. So if you colonize that tile, then it's gonna stop spawning there, and it will find another tile to spawn on that is adjacent to middle or is in the middle. And if you have a very slow map, that can happen in duels especially, where you scout the tile and it's straight next to the middle with the mountain. If you place down the relic, it will just spawn in the middle, and yeah, you have lost the game because you wasted all this time to build a relic that you can't even use because it's in the middle, and you can't really clear a middle early game efficiently, especially alone. In team games you can ask your teammates to do it, but it's gonna hurt everyone so much that it's usually not worth it. In game 3 I did take a different lore than I was talking about, because we have the middle victory, Gates of Helheim, for the lore we took Blood Eagle. It will summon the hawks that heal you, but this also gives you ability to blind, and that's like the only way you can control this is by killing neutrals and the hawks will spawn and then they will blind. But since that tile there is the Gates of Helheim, the Walker will spawn over and over again, so you're just gonna have the lore active 24/7 and always working if you kill the Walkers. So you can actually make use of that lore. Otherwise, I would just recommend going for fairy goats, because it's very hard to actually try to make this lore work. So yeah, the brewery goes down just to get more population going. And how far are we with the relic? Let's see. Yeah, it's just like a little bit more. It's, yeah, 801, few months in. The second cache is repeatedly spawning on this tile because that's the only tile that is 3 creeds away. And I think there was another tile, yeah. So in this game what happened is that there is event coming, and that event will actually reveal another tile that's 3 creeds away, and my cache will start spawning there, so I have lost the ability to get extra resources from scouting the caches. And that's the thing, this just can happen and you can't really do anything about it. The only thing you can do is just go and clear that tile, but killing neutrals, especially dwarves, you don't really want to do it most of the time. Alright, let's go forward. We finished relic, we place it down. And yeah, it's next to the main, so we take the wolf den because I know it's not gonna spawn there, and it will always keep spawning on that hidden tile unless I take it. And chief and the bodyguard can easily clear it, so it's not a problem. So the cache is going to give us 240 food, 240 wood, 120 gold, 120 lore, 9 stone and 9 iron. So it's like 2 shipwreck, 3 sheep, and yeah, I mean it's pretty good. And you can get it quite early, which is like even more better. This game, because we had to clear the iron tile with warriors, our relic was slowed down, but once we get to the game 4 and 5 from the build order, then we can see like just how fast you can get the relic down if we have free iron and don't have to get warriors. So yeah, we get the first cache scouted, or the relic, and then we just focus on having our economy, getting more people, either building more gold, getting ready to build a warband, and also upgrading our warband. And yeah, upgrading main, then upgrading gold income. We're just going to get ready for attacking 802 pretty much. Right, let's go skim forward because there is not gonna be any other action. I'm not gonna attack before I get the second cache down from the relic, and then we can make army and take the middle and just toad it and pretty much win the game. The only way to counter this is that you just ignore the middle and you go around it to attack your opponent, and hopefully he either pulls his army away or he will die once you take the middle. But it's still very difficult to do it, especially because of the relic. Eagle Clan is gonna have insanely big warband that he should not actually be having, so your attack force is gonna be slower than his defending force. So yeah, you can't like too much about it. Then wait. 3 Rex? No! Did this happen? What's going on? Yeah, the lighting is exactly the same. Rip. Alright, yeah, just upgrade military, get your chief stronger. The military is just bodyguard. For me, it's so basic that I'm not even talking about it, because there are like no other choice that you can do, in my opinion, if you're playing the Eagle Clan. Alright, let's skim forward to the game also. Exactly the same stuff is happening. Here I'm making army just to clear the tiles I've scouted so I can actually use the caches. And yeah, on this game, since the neutrals got scouted, then the second cache spawned on the dwarf. The third cache spawned on also dwarf. And what do you think, where's the fourth and fifth gonna spawn? On my opponent's dice, so yeah, those are not clear dice, I can't scout them, so I have lost the ability to use the caches. So the good thing about Eagle Relic is that it gives you everything you need for domination victory. Usually you just want to macro up, build your buildings and then upgrade your warband, but this relic, if you already have warband, it will give your warband plus 10% attack up to plus 20% for the relic scouted, and that is like 4 to 6 upgrade at camps without Legion. But yeah, I would not recommend going Legion, you don't need it in my opinion. The first military with bodyguards is so much stronger, and you don't have to sustain early warband to clear the relic either 1 or 2 times. So yeah, let's skim forward. We'll see the 5th relic spawn, 5th cache spawn, and yeah, it's scouted the second opponent tile, so well, rip, nothing to do about it, can't do it. We did get the second cache here from the relic, so yeah, we're just gonna make army, we get the meat, and then we can harass our opponent a little bit, but we have a lot bigger warband than he can handle, and we also have lore that is gonna make us insanely strong, so he has like no chance at all to be in this game anymore. Because yeah, the relic just outscales so much compared to any other clan. If you play this clan normally, you're gonna have a very terrible time sustaining, trying to get your economy rolling, or even like trying to clear the neutrals. You're just gonna be like suffering all the time. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna skim forward. I feel like we are strong enough. We have warband that we're sustaining, just scouting the map, killing everything, getting resources, scouting enemy, and just picking the fights that we think we can win. But since we have the map control, we can just relax and take it slow. Don't have to do any kind of drastic measures or movements. Yeah, I'm gonna skim the games forward because there isn't too much happening anymore that should or needs to be explained. We just get more resources, get more tiles, keep clearing the neutrals, get the military XP, and then we make big enough army to attack. Yeah, and also wait for the relic caches to spawn, so you can scout them and buff your mid units and just get the insane eco boost, economy boost. Alright. Yeah, we did attack our opponent. If we can find the place where we attacked, there we go. So what you can see is that I have picked up 0 of the clan lores just because they are so situational and can't be used all the time, that I'm just rather ignore them and take other tiles or other lores. And it's like, yeah, I would prefer to have the normal lores instead of clan lores, because the clan lores do feel like weaker version of the normal lores in the current state of the eagle. But since the relic seems to be so busted, I think they will fix it and change this strategy that it's not gonna be that good anymore. But hopefully they also like do buff the clan, otherwise it's gonna be, yeah, sad times. So our opponent also made army, but his economy isn't that great, so he's just starving or freezing, and yeah, we can just easily finish him up. Alright, so other thing I can say about the Gates of Helheim is that Valkyries are gonna spawn like around 1 minute and 6 seconds, so you can always get ready for that and you know that they are coming. So it should be like 1 minute for them to spawn, or around like 1 minute. It takes some time to take them down once they spawn. Yeah, just doing some harassment a little bit, falling back to defend the middle. And then I think our opponent is also coming, clearing the relic tile again. I think this is the 4th time now that we are clearing it, so we get it again. Or maybe it's the 3rd, I'm not quite sure. Well, he's there. I know that the Valkyries are gonna spawn, so I'm just gonna fight in the edge, and he also gets blinded from the hawk, so he has no chance to fight me head on. It's just not gonna happen. Okay, I think that's gonna be it with the games that we had with no free iron to start out with. And next we are just gonna go over some of the games that we had iron to start out with, and you can see how we can use that to have quite good relic timing. So yeah, let's get into it. First thing first, we put down the scout camp. So here I see that this tile can be next to the middle, so I decide to not colonize that tile, and I was thinking the relic is gonna spawn there, but there was actually another tile that's more adjacent to the middle, so it spawned there. But yeah, we see we have free iron, so we are just gonna play around with the 2 dice that we have, and we are not really gonna think too much about it. Just getting down our woodcutter for wood so we can build the house, and also already building the quarry to mine iron. It might be best to follow the build order from game 5. This seems to be the most balanced one in terms of how to get everything running. In team games, it still might be, depending if you have a clear clan in your team or you don't. If you have a clear clan in your team and he knows what he's doing and can help you out, then you don't need to follow the build order for the game 5. But yeah, I would just recommend using the build order from game 5 because it's just so beautiful. I like it a lot, to say the least. For game 4, we do have free iron here, but I built the house a bit too early, so I have to get a bit of wood to get the iron quarry going that we're doing. And I'm also scouting further ahead with scout to get the third grid open. But on game 5, we just don't scout anything else, and cache will either reveal the one tile that we haven't scouted, or it will spawn other tiles that we already scouted. I don't know if it's gonna respawn. Can it scout again the tile? I think only the first cache in the game then can scout the tile that's next to your main, but I might be mistaken, but I just haven't seen it spawn to scout the tile next to your main if there are already 3 tiles and it has already spawned. Alright, so there really isn't too much more happening other than that I placed down the forts that I will destroy because we need more gold. So the first cache that will spawn, as I told, it's random what it will have. It will always have iron, so you can get the 3 iron, but it can have gold or lore, and you always want the gold. Just like you get more gold, you get bigger warband, you have a higher chance of winning domination victory. So we didn't get gold there, but we did get wood, and that's decent. So yeah, we are missing gold to build the relic, so we built the ship. In team games you just build the trade post, but in duels you usually don't have anyone to trade with, and lore is more important. There are some cases where you passively win with lore, so having sailors just doing that extra work to get extra lore is usually nice. So I stopped mining at around 7 iron just to prepare for the winter to get more food and have more wood, so to just have like a good time. The thing is that since we have 2 tiles, we can't build another house because we're gonna be otherwise unhappy, so we're just gonna have 11 population until the winter ends. And yeah, getting sailors to work on gold, then calling them back, starting relic, gathering food for the winter, and then when we see that we can survive the winter, then we put the sailors back, because the next thing after we get the relic is that we do want to get our warband going. And the caches will spawn, so just like keep picking them up. Not too big of a problem. Gonna skim forward this game. Because yeah, we already started relic, we scout the camps, pull the warrior camp, extra camp. It's better to, depending on what you want to do. If you want to kite troggers, you want to build extra camp. But if you want to kill the ghost, then probably warrior camp is better, because you can miss some of your hits against the ghost units, ghost enemies. Alright, gonna skim it forward. So the winter ends, we are like 1 and then 2nd month. I'm sending 1 scout to go scout forward to get our chief, so we can start clearing. And yeah, actually there was an insane tile next to my main that I didn't scout with 2 sheep and ruins, but hey, it is what it is. That just means you can scout it and get a bigger warband to help us clear anything that we need. But yeah, the relic is going down. I was preparing for it to spawn here, because this seemed like the closer tile to the middle, but actually it didn't. So it spawned on the other tile, so I had to scout that out. And then yeah, all the neutral units that are on the tile, you can clear them out before you put down the treasure. So it's gonna be easier time to clear this. So that was like a little bit of mistake I could have avoided, but I was thinking I'm gonna be fine. But yeah, the relic is down and we could use it. But here our opponent did come in to snipe our chief, so we lost our chief. And we just had to stack up gold to get another chief before he could actually clear the tile. But since he was sustaining warband units more than I was, his economy wasn't doing great either, so he was just chilling and not applying any pressure. And yeah, like that's about it with that game. I'm gonna go into this game 4 now more. I'm gonna also skim forward. We have the relic going. We have 2 warriors out because I want to clear the third tile. Oh, did I already? Okay, yeah, already cleared it, so I can use it to get the second cache over and over again until more tiles get scouted. So yeah. Alright, so the winter is nearly over. We have enough gold to get our chief. We already have a chief out. And we have enough gold to make 1 warrior to help clear the coast faster. So I'm just gonna do that. And there is not even a question that the relic will either spawn on one of the 2 dice that we have already cleared. So we don't really have to worry about the neutrals on the tile. And we place the relic down and we can just take down the coast. And yeah, it's like 801 start. And then we get the relic and then we just wait 6 more months. And then we can get the relic again. I did go scout a little bit more of the opponent, so the caches are gonna start spawning randomly, and there is nothing we can really do about it. So yeah, just gonna skim forward. We have the relic coming again in 801, second time. So in 801 the relic tile will just have 3 ghosts defending it. If the game time is going to be 802, then it will have 1 Walker and 1 Ghost spawning on it. And if it's gonna be 803 plus, then it's gonna be 1 Walker and 6 Ghosts spawning on it. So getting like the first one and getting it 2 times with just your chief claiming it and not having any warband is insanely good. We can, yeah, like the winter hits, we can make a little bit of our army to get the buffs on the damage from the relic, and then we just go and hit in 802 start, like just straight after the winter. We make warband and we go in. I will talk about a little bit tile mechanics. So to get to the enemy, you have to clear the tiles 1 by 1. You can't really bypass the tiles unless you're playing a specific clan or have some specific rules in the game, aka conquest. But yeah, if there is like a free tile next to the tiles, then your units can pass on to another tile. So I'm using that here to go to the second tile to kill the healer, lore master, and then 3 more guys that come back from the ship. So yeah, rip. And that's already 5 population down, while you're gonna have like maybe 17 population. So he has like 12 population left that he can use to make into warband. Yeah, he's like pretty much dead. He won't have big enough numbers, even with chiefs. He needed to react faster, but going like straight after winter is insanely fast. And then we use the tile thing again, because the bottom tile will get decolonized, and we can just go in and kill the army. So I saw that there are too many villages coming. I'm just falling back just to make up my mind like how the trade will go, but yeah, there was no need for it. Picking up the lore, that's very hard to use unless you're already winning, that we are, so yeah. Just take him down. Against just fighting the villagers, it's usually better to pull your army back a little bit and then charge in again. You take less damage and you deal more damage. And with that, I think we can call it here. Don't really have anything else to say about it, other than that enjoy the build and let me know how it worked out for you. Take care.